The hockey stick whistled through the air before I could react. Pain exploded across my temple as the impact sent me staggering backward, my designer heels catching on the Persian rug. Through blurred vision, I watched my husband Frank, the man who'd promised to love and protect me, stand frozen, his face a mask of indifference while his mother towered over me, chest heaving with rage. "You ungrateful little witch," Martha's voice cut through the ringing in my ears. "After everything I've done for this family." That was the moment my perfect life shattered. Or maybe, looking back now, it was the moment my real life finally began. I'm Anna Chen, 29 years old, a business consultant in Austin's technology corridor. 6 months ago, I had it all, or what looked like all from the outside. A thriving career earning $50,000 a month, a Spanish colonial in Travis Heights, and a marriage that made my social media followers swoon with envy. Funny how social media filters can hide the bruises, both physical and emotional. Let me take you back to where it all began, to that fateful night at the Austin Technology Summit 5 years ago. The venue was dripping with ambition and old money, string lights twinkling above like stars caught in crystal chandeliers. I was fresh off landing my first major client, riding high on the rush of potential when Frank appeared at my elbow with 2 glasses of champagne. "You looked like you could use a celebration," he said, his Tom Ford suit perfectly tailored and his smile promising adventure. The way he carried himself screamed success, the kind of confidence that comes from old money and preparatory school connections. We clicked instantly, 2 ambitious souls speaking the language of disruption and dreams. "To changing the world," he'd toasted, his whiskey neat clinking against my champagne flute. Those dark eyes held promises that matched my own soaring aspirations. By midnight, we'd drafted our first business plan on a cocktail napkin, a venture that would merge his financial technology expertise with my consulting prowess. The whirlwind romance that followed was straight out of a romantic comedy. Weekend getaways to Napa Valley, surprise deliveries of peonies to my office, and late-night strategy sessions turned into dawn-lit conversations about our future. Within 6 months, we were inseparable. At 1 year, he proposed at sunset on Mount Bonnell, the Austin skyline glittering below like scattered diamonds. "We're going to build an empire together," he whispered, as he slipped the 3-carat diamond onto my finger. I believed him with every fiber of my being. The wedding was perfect for social media. White roses cascading from crystal vases, string quartets playing modern love songs with classical elegance, and Martha's first red flag that I was too love-drunk to notice. "The dress is a bit modern," she'd sniffed during the fitting, her manicured nails drumming against her Hermes designer bag. "In our family, brides traditionally wear their mother-in-law's gown." When I politely declined, something cold flickered behind her social climber smile. "Well, I suppose some people prioritize fashion over family." If only I'd recognized that passive-aggressive barb for what it was, the first shot in what would become a war for control. But I was too caught up in the fairy tale, too convinced that love would conquer all obstacles. The early days of marriage were a highlight reel of shared dreams and ambitious plans. Frank and I worked in perfect sync, celebrating each other's wins and pushing through the setbacks together. I poured everything into building my consulting practice, specializing in technology startups, and watching my client list grow along with our joint bank account. Those first 2 years, we were unstoppable. Frank's career in financial technology was soaring. Youngest vice president at his firm, featured in 30 under 30 lists, speaking at conferences across the country. I was building my own empire, one consulting contract at a time, earning a reputation as the go-to strategist for startups looking to scale. We bought the house in Travis Heights, a stunning Spanish colonial with views of downtown Austin. Every room was a testament to our success. Custom furniture, art collected from our travels, and a wine cellar Frank insisted on installing. Martha helped with the decorating, though looking back, I should have seen how she used it to stake her claim on our space. "This is a family home," she'd say, emphasizing family while rearranging my carefully curated bookshelves. "It needs to reflect our heritage." Somehow, our heritage always meant her taste, her family photos, and her vision of what our life should be. Then came the layoffs at Frank's firm. The technology bubble in Austin had been showing signs of strain, but we never thought it would touch us. We were too successful, too well-connected, too perfect. It's just a temporary setback, darling, I'd assured him that first night, massaging his tense shoulders as he stared at his severance package. With your experience, you'll land something even better. But weeks turned into months, and the Frank I knew began to fade like an old photograph. The ambitious go-getter morphed into a ghost who slept until noon and spent afternoons networking at the golf club, burning through our savings one 18-hole round at a time. That's when Martha swooped in like a designer-clad vulture, ready to help her son through this difficult time. A man needs his mother during times like these, she'd declared, letting herself into our house with the emergency key we'd never meant for daily use. Soon she was a fixture in our lives, rearranging my kitchen because that's how Frank likes it, and leaving passive-aggressive notes about the dust on the baseboards. I tried to be understanding. Really, I did. Frank was struggling, and if his mother's presence brought him comfort, I could deal with the intrusion. But then the financial demands started, subtle at first, but growing increasingly bold. "Anna, sweetie." She'd corner me in my own kitchen, her voice dripping honey over steel. "Frank mentioned you landed that big technology client. You know I've been dying to get away to that spa in Sedona, the one all my club friends rave about. You wouldn't mind helping out family, would you?" The requests quickly snowballed. Designer bags, country club memberships, a luxury cruise for her bridge group. Each time I tried to say no, she'd weaponize guilt with surgical precision. "Family takes care of family," became her mantra. Spat like an accusation. "But I suppose you wouldn't understand that, coming from your background." The slight pause before background carried a weight of implications that made my skin crawl. Frank's response to his mother's escalating demands? A shrug and a mumbled, "Just keep the peace, darling. You know how she gets." The piece cost exactly $23,467 last month alone. I'd tracked every manipulative penny in a spreadsheet, watching my hard-earned success become a blank check for Martha's entitlement. Meanwhile, I was drowning in the cognitive dissonance of my reality. By day, I was a powerful consultant, advising CEOs and steering companies toward success. By night, I was the ATM, the punching bag, the daughter-in-law who could never quite measure up to Martha's impossible standards. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I'd just landed my biggest client yet, a startup with first-round funding and stock options on the table. The contract would double my annual income, and for a moment, sitting in my car in the driveway, I allowed myself to feel proud. Martha was waiting when I got home, settled in my favorite armchair like a queen on her throne. Frank slouched on the couch beside her, absorbed in his phone. "Anna, we need to discuss transportation," she'd announced without preamble. "Your Tesla Model S electric car would be perfect for my social obligations. You can buy another one. You're doing so well, after all." The audacity stunned me. My electric car wasn't just a vehicle. It was a symbol of everything I'd built from scratch. The first major purchase I'd made after my business took off. My mobile office between client meetings. "That's not happening," I said, my voice firm but calm. "The car stays with me." Martha's face contorted, decades of cosmetic treatments cracking under raw fury. "You selfish little immigrant's daughter. Who do you think you are?" "I'm the one paying the bills," I shot back, steel entering my voice. "The one keeping this household afloat while your son plays golf instead of job hunting. The one you've been treating like an automated teller machine." That's when she spotted the hockey stick, a relic from Frank's preparatory school days mounted on the wall. The rest is a blur of pain, betrayal, and the deafening sound of my husband's silence. I spent that night in the emergency room, collecting evidence while the doctor documented my concussion. By morning, I had two things: a medical report and crystal clarity about what I needed to do. The next weeks were a masterclass in calculated revenge served legally cold. My lawyer, Sophia Carter, was a fierce advocate of designer heels who specialized in domestic abuse cases. Under her guidance, I gathered everything: medical records, financial statements, text messages, security camera footage, a paper trail of manipulation and violence that would make a jury's blood boil. "This isn't just about divorce," Sophia said, reviewing my evidence. "This is about setting a precedent, about showing that financial abuse and physical violence aren't somehow more acceptable when they come wrapped in designer clothes and family obligations." Martha's mask of respectability crumbled in court. The country club matriarch act fell apart under cross-examination, revealing the greedy, violent woman beneath. When the judge handed down 6 months in jail and a $10,000 fine, her outraged shriek echoed through the courtroom like karma coming home to roost. Frank tried to apologize afterward, his excuses as weak as his spine. "I never thought she'd go that far," he stammered in the courthouse parking lot. "We can work this out. I'll get a job. I'll stand up to her. I'll be better." I just smiled, handed him divorce papers, and walked away. The house? That stayed with me, along with my car, my business, and my rediscovered sense of self-worth. These days, my life looks different. The bruises have faded, but the lessons remain, etched into my soul like wisdom won in battle. My consulting business has doubled, fueled by the same determination that helped me break free. I mentor other women in technology, teaching them to recognize their worth isn't measured by others' demands. Sometimes I catch my reflection in my office window, silhouetted against the Austin skyline, and barely recognize the strong woman staring back. She's not the same person who once thought love meant sacrifice at any cost. She knows better now. Martha served her time and slunk back to her country club, her reputation in tatters. Frank? Last I heard, he's living in a studio apartment and finally job hunting. Their actions cost them everything. Money, status, freedom. But me? I'm soaring higher than ever. Proof that the best revenge isn't just living well. It's living authentically on your own terms. My name is Anna Chen, and this is my story of freedom. Not just from abuse, but from the chains of expectations that kept me bound. If you're reading this and recognizing your own cage, remember, the key to freedom is believing you deserve it. And trust me, you do. The sunlight streams through my home office window as I finish typing this, glinting off the frame that holds my latest achievement. 40 under 40. Austin's rising business stars. The hockey stick that changed everything. I donated it to an art installation about domestic violence survival. Sometimes the things meant to break us become the tools of our liberation. Last week, I launched a charitable foundation providing resources and support to women trapped in financially abusive relationships. The first donation? Martha's $10,000 fine is a poetic justice that still makes me smile. My phone buzzes. Another client meeting. Another opportunity to build something meaningful. I grab my car keys, smoothing my blazer with a smile. The day is full of possibilities, and this time, they're all mine. Freedom, I've learned, isn't just about breaking away. It's about breaking through to the person you were always meant to be. And that journey, worth every step, every tear, every moment of standing up and saying, enough. Because in the end, your life is your story to write. Make it one worth telling.